thin air of the knowable. Suddenly, the bright smell of apples has dredged up a late night, rain, and tears for a perfidious lover. Why that night? Those tears? Why not a spangle of apple blossoms? Why not polished harvest pyramids of galas, Granny Smiths, Gravensteins? A whiff of hay bales at the farmer's market returns me to a friend's barn, lanolin thick on my hands, hauling pungent fleeces and stuffing them in sacks, laughing as the naked sheep circle us and stare in mild consternation. What gravitation pulls open the senses' trapdoors, impels perceptions to the wordless deep? What clutches those reverberations, draws them up to the thin air of the knowable? Intention does not have the final say. In the capacious heart, a great silence. The ineffable moves and is replenished. From the pond's murk, the carp's slow surge, grace and glister, its sun-spattered fin. This poem has an epigraph from P.K. Page and Philip Stratford. Somewhere within us, fins and tails still flick. Somewhere, an angel struggles to be born. Aquatic. Early swim. A few day-blind stars still float the pool's high windows. A little water slaps the tiles, drums my ears' hollows. What manner of speech addresses the body, its emptied mind, its wordless accord with an amniotic world? What older pulse flows through limbs, kinetic, preconceptual, slips backwards through its animal essence, back past primate to pure vertebrate being, weightless? An arrow of clear self slipstreams the surface, and water ribbons across back, haunches, flicking feet. iPhones, umbrellas, toast for breakfast, sliding away, cupped hands reaching and pushing. Pure rhythm of body, rhythm of breath, heartbeat, foundational drum, its cadence and prosody passing from one medium's density to another's, refracted. Just so the swimmer and the swimming, torqued by warp and crimp of light, of depth, like metaphor's refraction, magnifying, light-splitting, altering dimensions and distances. Scattered threads of light tremble the walls. Do not believe the evidence of your eyes. How to translate that phantasm, din of heart and breath in ears? How turn and return? How mark echo and boundary? How to craft the mind's movement in language when the burdensome body returns to the weighty world? I wrote this one the year after Nelson Mandela's death. Late, and the light already turning. Light spills from winter's icy chalice. Scrims of snow gather coasting gulls, shake them out like laundry. It is a white morning, although darkening days slant to the year's midnight. A white morning. It weighs on eyelids, settles on the red winter quilt. But earth tilts on the solstice fulcrum, away from the year's fracking, from renditions, from Mandela's death and the world's crocodile tears. Tears, nothing to dementia patients waiting for the bus, to the mad prophet, sleeping bag jumbled in his cart, to children trudging rifles through Sahel dust, indecipherable as angels in the snow. In Barbados now, poinsettia hedges glow and the cane is inflorescent, each field a white sea of plumes stark under the moon. Did we imagine the brightness of that summer market stall where two men sold sunflowers? Each week, a galaxy of cultivars we almost couldn't choose. Their whorled heads weighty in our arms. Then one man, alone, an empty chair at his side, wrapping our Saturday purchase. He said, "The cancer took him. You only find love like that once." It is getting late, and the light already turning. Still, we attend to white light on a red quilt, as one might keep a smooth beach pebble which, held, harvests the hand's warmth. Aubade. In that long twilight before sunup, gray light seeps through blinds, stripes my dreams where lost boys wander the corridors, surface through light and shadow until they fade. Everything aches. This friendly body, my good animal, now slow to my bidding, hatches mutinous cells and clamors for sleep. Of that coltish girl, no remnant, not even in the deepest mirror. When did I start to be old? The sun stamps its bright barcode on the wall, and I turn to you and our late love in these flannel sheets. What we say goodbye to, the romp and flecks of salad days, supple muscles heedless of the night, gives luster to all that our stitched bodies have scavenged from a shattered world, weight of loss and loving. Somehow, catastrophe's patina glosses our now of pleasure, raku still glowing from the kiln. It's not late yet. That summer bay when sorrow was a child and crows cawed the arbutus dawn. Evenings you held frilled oyster shells against the sunset, mother of pearl glowing into your small world. Mornings you sculled the shallows, raking up huge pre-pollution crabs, a world all salt and mist, your mother calling breakfast. And at dusk, crabs scuttled, made a wheezing sound with their scrabble, brief, in water boiling on the campfire, where you cracked them open with such gusto, sucked out the meat, your father's corny jokes and the world lurching on, its spoor tucked in moldy boxes, newspapers stacked by the old coal bin. Albums, their black pages curating a scowling childhood. Your older cousins squint into the sun, recall only boredom of dusty days without romance, tedium of chores, parents a fretful backdrop. What matter they wore themselves threadbare over the mortgage and wondered where the lick and flare of passion, what that small lump fingered in the dark. You just want to put your head on the desk. But you held giggling parliaments, rubbed baby oil on peeling shoulders, scorned your mother's gifts of soft pink sweaters. Then read of Emmett Till, just your age, 14. He whistled at a white woman, battered, barbed-wired to a flywheel, thrown in the Mississippi. His mother made them leave his coffin open. Let the world see what happened, she said. So the world's Boschian maw, insatiable, intractable, gaped before your green life, retreat impossible. Did you think you could go back? Words like love and justice, less than tide rack on the beach. Even if you could find that oyster shell, hold it against the light. on looking into David Blackwood's Seascapes. Wax resist on a copper plate repels the nitric acid, vinegar sharp, but the etching needle seeks that icy void, presses down to its core. The acid bites and bites like the iceberg pressing through the skin of the world, its vaults and pinnacles gleaming in the night. Trapped starlight refracts sheen and spangle and plunges down sea roads winding like rope through upside-down mountains, peaks and chasms where fish huddles stream, silver, mouths agape. Their round sleepless eyes glint into the dark, and through it all leviathans surge, the huge bell of their song. There is no end to their longing. Above, small hunters in white sealskin coats. Their sliver of boat threads night water, rippling silence, and over the iceberg, 3 seabirds wing the hollow crick of their flight under the resinous moon. Meeting an old friend in Banff. Autumn. Nights are cooler now. Winds slide down mountains, flake the aspen's first gold. Sunlight is cancelled early. Rundle's ridge lines shoulder the light aside. A last flare mottles the peaks, their scattered pelts of lodgepole pine, spruce, patchy shale. Stranger than any creation story, seas rising to mountaintop reefs, collecting spalls in muddy maelstroms dumped randomly, heaving up ziggurats along the spiny continental massif, weathering into vegetation. Stranger than doctrines of ex nihilo, things brought into being by naming, than the Greek myth of chaos, populated by incestuous gods, or tales of Raven, prankish light-bringer. What purpose this machinery? What meaning for our mayfly lives? Are crags and outcrops more real if I say Mesozoic rather than the moon climbs into autumn? Far from home, I meet an old friend. Kindred spirits rare, I should know by now. We pour wine, laugh a little. Tomorrow we will walk by the river. Its unraveling streams braid dark and light. Magpies startle, glide on sudden gusts. Any morning now, there will be frost.